pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Yo, yo, yo! What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat. We got Chef, we got David, we got Studio, we got Michael, we got Carter, Arturo. I see you up there as well. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Do me a huge favor. Smack up the like button here on your way in, ladies and gentlemen. We got a good, fun-filled show for you guys today. We're talking everything Thursday night football. Are we going to potentially see the Commanders not make the playoffs? They didn't look so good. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Cliff Kingsbury. But we're mainly going to be focusing on Cardinals versus Panthers because that is our week 2 matchup here in week 2, which is going to be in 2 days, ladies. And we got Cardinals football in 2 days. And I don't know if you guys noticed, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, woo! Can we get some fire emojis in the comments below? We got it. We got it. It's finally been official. Here it is, the debut. I mean, officially, the probably debut is when we actually have a regular video come out because that's when most of the audience tune in. But there you go. In all its glory, this thing is absolutely wonderful. Now, another thing here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be giving away mini helmet. Now, we still don't know all the things that we need to do in order for you to get into this contest, but we are going to be giving away this beautiful Arizona Cardinal helmet, Nike rivalry helmet. It's the mini version of this. Obviously, I'm not giving this away. This thing is a lot of money, so I'm putting it in my showcase. But we're going to be giving away this bad boy here. We still don't know the terms and conditions of what we're going to be doing, but TBD. Obviously, it's probably going to be something to do with subscriber count on this YouTube channel. So if this is your first time here, subscribe. That's number one and foremost. Subscribe it up and also follow me on my social platforms. Everything will be in the description below, just in case there is an announcement that you don't see on a video or community post. You most likely will be able to see it on Instagram or X/Twitter. But ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into it. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's first start off here with some Thursday night football. Actually, quick shout out here to Sleeper. More on them a little later on. We're going to be talking about what can potentially, come right for this game. But yeah, so a little bit more on Sleeper a little later on. But let's talk a little bit about Commanders Packers. What are your guys' overall thoughts, man? What are your guys' overall thoughts on this Thursday night football game? Now, honestly, I was actually pretty shocked, to be real with you. I was real shocked that the Commanders came out and kind of looked flat. They didn't look like the Commanders that most of this fan base was hyping them up to be. If I'm going to be real, the Commanders came out and didn't look good. Now, Jaden Daniels ended up finishing this game 24-42 with 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also got involved rushing as well. 7 carries, 17 yards. Zach Ertz was their leading receiver with 6 receptions and 64 yards and a touchdown, but a lot of this stats came from after, right? After, like, garbage time, essentially, right? And on top of that, they lost Austin Eckler, and they traded away Brian Robinson Jr. earlier to the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if this team is... Now, they might be a playoff team still. They very well can be a playoff team, but that O-line, man, that O-line is not doing Jaden Daniels any favors. And will that be the reason as to why he looks like he's kind of regressed? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are in play in this game. Now, also, the Green Bay Packers. Are the Green Bay Packers just that darn good, right? I didn't expect for them to be, looking that dominant against a team that went to the NFC Conference Championship last year. I didn't expect them to look like that. Now, obviously, you add Micah Parsons to the mix, but damn, they looked really good. Now, why are we talking about the Packers? Well, the Cardinals are playing the Packers later on this year. If you guys do not know, the Arizona Cardinals will be playing the Packers. I believe it's on Monday. No, let me find out. I was going to say Monday. I don't think that's the primetime game. Actually, it might be the primetime game. Let me find out here. We are playing them on October the 19th. And actually, that might be primetime, actually, now thinking about it. Let me bring up the calendar here real quick. October 19th lands on... No, it's a Sunday. October 19th is a Sunday. We had 2 primetime games, didn't we? Is it Dallas Cowboys the other? Yeah, Dallas Cowboys the other primetime game. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so the Packers is going to be a Sunday, October 19th at 1:25. Now, we're playing this game right before our bye week. So, we're going to have to scout out what the Packers are really kind of essentially going to be. But so far, they've taken down a team that went to the NFC Conference Championship in the Commanders, and they played the Lions in week one. And guess what? They made the Lions look pretty darn silly as well when it comes down to week one versus the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions are a much better team than what was put out on week one. But yeah, they essentially kind of obliterated them. I mean, Jordan Love didn't have that great of a game. He was 16 of 22, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Jared Goff was seeing ghosts. He didn't really look too great. But yeah, they ended up beating the Lions 27-13. So like this team looks pretty darn legit. Like pretty darn legit. I'm excited to see what the Packers are going to do moving forward. Now, of course, obviously, I want the Cardinals to win when it comes down to our matchup in week 7. So let's see. Let's see how it all shakes out. Johnny on the chat says, I'm so excited to see the Cardinals in that uniform. I agree. If you guys do not know, the Nike rivalry jerseys will be debuting in 3 weeks. So 2 weeks from, well, technically not 2 weeks, but they're going to be debuting in week 4, which is going to be that Thursday night football game, Seahawks versus Cardinals. So we got this game, we got the 49ers, and then we got our primetime game, the first primetime game of the season. So yeah, I'm excited as well, Johnny. Thank you so very much for the super chat. Absolutely do appreciate it. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see how this wild card or playoff race ends up kind of shaking out. I don't think the Commanders are a bad team. Like, I just think that the Packers are that darn good. And they were blowing up the offensive line for the Packers or for the Commanders. Like they were blowing them up. Like they just did not have an answer. Jaden Daniels didn't look comfortable until probably the last, 8, 9 minutes of the fourth quarter. And even then, that was probably garbage time at that very moment. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this Commanders team is going to go back to the playoffs. They could eventually very well. Obviously, they're not winning the division. I don't think they're going to take on or beat the Eagles. The Eagles are still the division winners in my eyes when it comes down to the NFC East, but definitely something very fascinating to obviously keep your eyes on. Now, of course, Cliff Kingsbury, right? He was a topic of conversation throughout the entirety of social media because he was a former Arizona Cardinal head coach and he had a really good rookie. Is it? Yeah, technically it would be his rookie year as an offensive coordinator for the Cardinals, right? For the Commanders, my goodness, for the Commanders. He had a good rookie year as an offensive coordinator for the Commanders. Now, what do we know for Cliff Kingsbury, right? Cardinal fans, we know that he's a guru, right? We know that his offense can work, but we also know that adjustments aren't really kind of put into plays to kind of negate what the defense does to his offense. Now, I'm not sure if this is kind of the signs before, right? I don't know, right? I don't know. We're going to have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. But the Commanders did beat the Giants in a respectable fashion, 21-6. But at the end of the day, it's the Giants, right? The Giants aren't going to do very much this year at all. So I don't want to look too much into it. Right now, I'm still going to say the Commanders are a fringe playoff team. Definitely not a division winner, but fringe playoff team. They're definitely one of my favorites to hit one of the wild card spots for sure. But man, I just think the Packers look damn good, man. I think the Packers look damn good. And it's a little worrisome. It's a little worrisome. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but the Packers fans, they were all cheering, "Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry," they were saying. "Thank you, Jerry," because obviously Micah Parsons ended up getting traded over to the Packers. So this might go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history. Maybe not, right? We've probably seen some crazy ones happen before, but yeah, this was so far not starting off very good for the Dallas Cowboys. I feel like it would have been a lot better for the Dallas Cowboys if they made this trade before the draft. Now, of course, you got to wait the next 2 years to get those first round picks, which are still very valuable. But if this is Packers first round picks, you're probably talking about somewhere in the 20s. Like these first round picks probably are not going to get you top 10 talent, which is probably what they were thinking. I don't know. I don't know if Jerry World's plan or Jerry Jones' plan is going to come into fruition and shake out the way he's going to want to shake out. But man, what a game. I truly enjoyed it. I thought Packers versus Commanders was good. Of course, when you have fantasy football players in there, you have to, really pay attention. The Packers did lose one of their wide receivers in Jaden Reed. I think he's out for like 6 to 8 weeks with the broken collarbone. So that's definitely something to keep your eyes on. And then Eckler, man. Eckler, was it with the torn Achilles? Like, dang, man. Like, I don't know if the Commanders made a right move by trading Brian Robinson to the 49ers, Brian Robinson Jr., but they made a decision, and now they're going to have to really depend on their young rookie, what's a 7th-round pick, to see if he's going to be able to kind of uptick that workload. We'll have to kind of wait and see, though. We'll have to kind of wait and see. We do got some comments here in the chat. What's up, guys? Appreciate you. Jake in the chat says, please let us beat the Panthers. I agree, man. I agree. We're going to be talking Panthers versus Cardinals here in the next few minutes. I just want to make sure that everybody's fully aware to smack the like button, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the next giveaway that we're going to be giving away. This is a mini helmet Nike rivalry for the new people that just joined in. We do not know exactly what we're going to be doing in order for us to give this away, but this is the next giveaway for the channel. So appreciate you guys for being here. We are on the road to 18K. So this is your first time here. Subscribe it up. Subscribe it up. On the road to 18K. Cannot do it without you guys. So smack the like button and subscribe. Let's keep it with the chat. Adrian in the chat saying, if Micah wins Defensive Player of the Year, worst trade. I mean, right now it seems pretty bad, if I'm going to be real. To trade away Micah Parsons is essentially to trade away Luka Doncic in the NBA terms, right? There's some things that you do not do, right? When you got a big, valuable piece, and one of your best players on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball, there's some things that you don't do. And that's something that you do not do. And the Cowboys called their shot. And so far, it's not looking like it's working out to them because he's already making a pretty solid impact. I wouldn't say great impact, but it's just only week 2. But he's noticeable. He's causing pressure to the opposing quarterback. So, hey, that's what he's here for. I'm excited to see what he's going to do for the rest of the year. Of course, I'm not excited to go against them in week 7, but it is what it is. Let's see what the Arizona Cardinals end up doing. But yeah, really, really excited about, to see how this playoff bracket looks. And I get it. We're just in week 2, right? You don't really learn a lot in week 1, week 2, week 3. It's usually when October, November comes around, you kind of really start seeing who are those teams that are going to be breaking out from the rest, right? So I know I'm fully aware, but here we are, right? We got another super chat coming our way. Johnny with another super chat. Man, appreciate you, Johnny. Thank you so very much. He says, I got us winning the division. Woo! Thoughts? Well, let me say this, Johnny. A, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. 2, this is as wide open of an NFC West that I've seen in a very long time. Right here. This is as open as I've seen an NFC West open in a very long time. Me, right now in week 2, or at least heading into week 2, I still do think it's the Rams division to lose, if I'm going to be real. Now, the Cardinals do play the Rams twice late in the season. If we somehow split or figure out the late season collapses, I think we got a real chance. Now, of course, you got to take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. We had back-to-back games that we're favored to win. We don't get those very often. We had the Saints, and then we got the Panthers. Those are 2 teams that you need to absolutely win. And if the Cardinals don't, then Cardinal fans will, of course, be in an uproar, including myself, because these are games you need to win, right? We got a real chance to start off at 2-0. A real chance. And I'm not trying to say, oh, the Panthers are terrible, but if you listen to Panthers content creators out there or the Panthers media, a lot of people truly feel like they've regressed. A lot of people feel like the Carolina Panthers regressed. So the Arizona Cardinals need to take advantage of this. Now, week 3, there's a real possibility that we're not playing Brock Purdy in week 3 versus the 49ers. And we're not playing George Kittle. He's on IR. So things are stacking up to the favor for us to stack up wins in the beginning of the season. It's just we need to be able to beat the games or win the games that we should beat. So I love the optimism. I really do. It's just I'm kind of in the mode right now where show me, right? Show me. That's the kind of mode that I am right now. Show me. So if they do, then hey, let's go. I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, here's some Cardinal news, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys do not know, Jonathan Gannon did come on his presser for Friday's presser and did provide us some updates. And he ended up coming out and saying that there's 2 players already ruled out for the Arizona Cardinals heading into week 2. Those 2 players that are ruled out are going to be tight end Tip Ryman, which I think it's a pretty big deal. Now, some people might not think it's a big deal, but he's a really good blocking tight end. A really good blocking tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. So, I think it's a big deal personally, but I could understand for the people out there that are like, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, cool, no worries. But Tip Ryman has been ruled out. And then on top of that, rookie linebacker, Cody Simon. So right now, those are the guys that have been ruled out for the Arizona Cardinals. They will not be playing week 2. And Jonathan Gannon did come out and say that he's gonna let us know when the injury report comes out a little later on, right? I think those might be the extent of the players that are going to be missing, but we'll see, right? We'll see how it goes. But this is gonna be this is a big deal. He's a good blocker, man. He really is, especially when you got those big, heavy packages on there with 2 tight ends. Tip Ryman is a good option out there. Now, of course, Jonathan Gannon did come out and give some praise over to Elijah Higgins, which I'm a big fan of Elijah Higgins, if I'm gonna be real. I really like Elijah Higgins, our tight end. He's gonna get an opportunity to obviously go up within the depth chart, but he's more of a playmaker than Ryman is. So I think JG came out and says that, he gave him credit for making his blocking better. So we're going to see some Elijah Higgins. And then we're going to see Travis Volkelnik. Most likely butchered his name. But there's a reason why the Cardinals carried 4 tight ends. Did I think the Cardinals were going to carry 4 tight ends a month ago? No, I didn't. But here we are. Speedy recovery. Fingers crossed that Tip Ryman is going to be good on next week. But we're going to have to kind of wait and see how it shakes out. But Cody Simon, linebacker, is also been ruled out as well. Now, of course, that one might not be too big of an impact because he's more of a special teams player right now, but we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. So that is the latest on the Arizona Cardinals news. Let's talk some Cardinals versus Panthers, shall we? Let's talk some Cardinals versus Panthers, shall we? Now, this is going to be a very, very fun game, or at least I hope the expectations match what I feel like is going to be a fun game. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But we got some good matchups to look out for. Let's talk about the best matchups you guys are excited to watch. Let me know here in the chat, and obviously get involved and let me know what you guys' best matchups that you're excited to watch, and I'll give you my top 3 right now. As you can tell, you have Will Johnson coming off a crazy good rookie debut in week 1 versus the Saints. I got to put my guy Will Johnson on here. I'm excited to see Will Johnson versus Tedororo McMillan. That right there, I feel like is going to be the matchup that I'm going to keep my eyes on. Now, I hope Will Johnson follows him. I don't think Will Johnson is at that point of his career where he's going to follow the number 1 wide receivers. And let's be real. Tedororo McMillan is most likely their number 1 wide receiver right now as a rookie. But I'm excited to see that matchup, if I'm going to be real. A lot of good, high praises from Will Johnson about T-Mac, as well as Jonathan Gannon. And I don't know if you guys watched yesterday's video, but yesterday's video, we ended up talking about how much Jonathan Gannon actually ended up saying. Maybe he might have said a little too much, but they scouted. They scouted Tedororo McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. They like him. They liked him. Now, I didn't think that he was going to fall out of the top 10. There was some mock drafts that had him fall to the Cardinals at 16 or fell at the 16th spot. The Cardinals still didn't take him. But, of course, when you're doing mock drafts, there's so many different ways you can go, right? Different moves, trade-ups, all these different things. But the Cardinals really did like Tedororo McMillan. Now, I get it. That's kind of water under the bridge. It doesn't really matter at this very moment. But just imagine, right? Imagine a world that we're living with, back-to-back wide receivers and really good wide receivers. So Will Johnson and Tedororo McMillan, that's the number 1 matchup I'm excited to watch this week. I want to see if Will Johnson can build off of that great week 1. Super excited about that. Next, Marvin Harrison Jr. against J.C. Horn. That's going to be fun. That's going to be so fun to watch. Marvin Harrison Jr. had himself a pretty solid game, if I might say so myself. Now, of course, the people out there that didn't want Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft, they're probably going to come out and say he didn't have a good game. He did. He did. He had 6 targets, 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown. He potentially could have had a lot more yards than 71 yards if that ball was thrown better to Marvin. And you know what I'm talking about, the one where they're pinned like close to their end zone, and then Kyler Murray almost kind of like a post, but I don't know if he was thinking it was a vertical, and he thought it was. I don't exactly know the miscommunication there, but Marvin Harrison Jr. could have got a lot more crazier with more yardage. So I'm excited to see Marvin Harrison Jr. versus J.C. Horn. Now, this is what I'm a little worried about, right? If J.C. Horn does a good job on Marvin and he limits him to, like, let's say, for example, limits him to like 50 yards, 60 yards, right? And a touchdown, right? Who's going to step up? Well, I mean, the only other option is Trey. We've been longing for somebody in this wide receiving core, not named Marvin Harrison Jr., to step up. This is going to be probably one of the biggest real tests that I'm excited to see. If J.C. Horn does do a good job against Marvin, obviously Trey McBride's going to step up, but who are those other guys behind Marvin, right? Who's going to step up in the wide receiving core? So far, the big 2 matchups I'm excited to see: Will Johnson versus Tedero McMillan, Marvin Harrison Jr. versus J.C. Horn. And let's give some love to the trenches. Darius Robinson. I'm calling your name. Right now. Darius Robinson. Come out and ball out against this Panthers team. This might be the best time to get the Panthers. And I'm not saying, the Panthers are this big juggernaut of a team. No, but if you guys don't know, we struggle against the Panthers every time we play the Panthers. Since 2015, we saw them 8 times, including a playoff game. We're 1-7 against the Panthers since 2015. So this might be the best time to catch the Panthers slipping, right? This one right here. Because from all the stuff that I've been hearing, the Panthers don't look good, especially in week 1 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I don't know if it's the Jacksonville Jaguars just being good, right? But they were only able to muster like 10 points against that defense. Bryce Young had 2 interceptions, 154 yards, 1 touchdown. Didn't look too great. Chuba Hubbard had a okay game, 16 carries, 57 yards. They didn't look good at all. So how do we build off of that, right? How do we build off of pressuring Bryce Young, right? Making him uncomfortable back there. Well, our defensive linemen are going to need to step up. I want to see a big game from Darius. That's what I'm looking for. I know what I'm going to get from Calais. I know what I'm going to get from the other guys in the D-line, right? Birch, Sweat. It's time. It's time to see some Darius Robinson versus their offensive line. That's another matchup I'm excited to see. And here's the thing. We give a lot of expectations for Darius because he's a first-round pick. I want to see this guy do better than week 1. He didn't do very much. If you rewatch the film, he had like little to not very much impact in that game. So, Darius, calling your name up, man. Let's see you do something in week 2. Of course, we could also say Josh Sweat against their O-line, of course. But I really want to put a lot of expectations on Darius here. It's time, man. It's time for him to step up. Those are my most exciting matchups that I want to see. But let's call it like it is. You want to win this game? This is what you got to do. You want to win this game? This is what you need to do. Now, this graphic says number 1 things. It's supposed to say number 1 thing, stop the run. This is what you got to do. You want to stop the Panthers? This is what you got to do. Stop the run. If the Cardinals can somehow limit Chuba, and I don't think they're going to stop him, right? Because that's exactly what I said, versus Kamara. And for the most part, I mean, they did solid against Kamara. It's not like Kamara went crazy on us, but they didn't really ride Kamara as much as I thought they were going to. But you want to stop this team, and I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers, you got to stop the run. And I know it sounds easier than I'm making it sound a lot easier, but that's what you got to do. We got to limit him as much as we possibly can. I don't think Bryce Young is going to make it to his second contract, if I'm going to be real. I don't think Bryce Young is going to make it to his second contract. I don't believe in him. I don't think he's shown the flashes that at least Kyler Murray has in the first few years. This is a big year for Bryce. A very, very big year for Bryce. A big year for the Panthers organization. There's a lot of fans right now that are already talking about, oh man, Bryce isn't the guy, right? Bryce isn't the guy. We should have gone off for CJ Stroud, right? That's the unfortunate part. When you are in a top 2 heavy quarterback draft, you either get the guy or you don't, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Jet in the chat says, how much do you think Walter Nolan changes this defense right away? I don't know if I feel like Walter Nolan. Like, I look at Walter Nolan and if it almost kind of feels the same as Will Johnson, if I'm gonna be real. Now, I was wrong about Will Johnson. I really was. I didn't think Will Johnson was gonna be as impactful as we already seen in week 1. But let's see week 2, right? Let's see week 3. Like, Will Johnson, to me, I always felt like he had the ability. I always felt like he was going to be the number 1 corner for the Cardinals eventually, maybe midway through the season or at the end of the season. That's what I was really thinking about Will. But hey, keep proving me wrong. Hey, you're going to make impact week 1, week 2, week 3 from the get. I would love it. When it comes down to Walter Nolan, I think he's only going to be as impactful as the rotation provides him to be, right? Like right now, Darius Robinson and Calais Campbell are the main guys that are going to be in the middle. And I thought Dalvin Tomlinson was going to get more of an opportunity, but last time I looked at the snap count, Dalvin Tomlinson had like 30%, which is not bad for a 3-guy rotation or 3 big guy rotation, right? But I thought Dalvin Tomlinson was going to be playing a little bit better. But they're leaning a lot on Darius. They're leaning a lot on Calais. So, although I would love to say he's going to have an immediate impact, I want to see it first, right? I want to see it first. He might come out here and be the next Millen Williams, right? We didn't have to spend all that money that the Patriots did. Who knows? But we'll see. It's a good question. Jonathan in the chat says, what has Darius shown? I mean, that's a good question, Jonathan. That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Right now, he's had flashes in a few games, right? Now, I don't think very many people jumped badly on Darius after year 1. One of the biggest reasons as to why is because obviously the things that he ended up having to endure, right? The injury, the re-aggravation of the injury, and the unfortunate passing of his mother. So nobody really kind of did a deep dive or really looked into Darius and saying, what's wrong? You're a first round pick. Why aren't you getting it, right? But now you're in year 2, right? You're healthy. You're really ready to go. He needs to start showing up now, right? And I'm not talking about this game specifically, but this is the year he needs to start showing up. I'm talking about Darius Robinson. You got one of the best mentors to have in Calais, right? Seeing what learn from Dalvin Tomlinson a little bit, right? But this is the year, man. This is the year. So for the question out there saying, what has he really proven or shown? Well, in week 1, he really had little to no impact. Little to no impact Darius Robinson had in week 1, if I'm going to be real. But it's time for that to change. This is the best opportunity for you to do so. Cause pressure, wreak havoc, and be the guy that we drafted you in the first round to be, right? Brandon in the chat says, I love Calais, but he can't be a workhorse of this team. I agree. 100% agree. I don't know if you guys know, or actually, I think all of you guys noticed that Calais Campbell and a lot of these defensive linemen, they were out of breath at the end when they were playing up tempo and they weren't able to sub out, right? When they weren't able to sub out. A lot of those guys were out of breath and rightfully so. I mean, they're over. Calais Campbell's pushing 40. Phew. I'm in my mid-30s, and I'm out of breath when I gotta run after my 4-year-old. I can only imagine how tired he is. I can only imagine how tired he is. Now, re-looking back at the snap count, I was wrong. I was wrong. Re-looking at the snap count, I was wrong. It's not Darius Robinson and Calais Campbell. It's Darius Robinson and Dante Stills. Now, let me emphasize. Dante Stills was on the field 45% in week 1. Played 34 defensive snaps. Calais Campbell was on the field 44%, 33 defensive snaps. So, for what it's worth, he's a little bit of a uptick, a little bit more than Calais. But even then, pushing 40, that's a lot. That's a lot, man. I can only imagine, man. I'm in my mid-30s, and I'm tired even just talking right now. So, I'm pretty out of breath right now. So, I can only imagine. But Darius Robinson played 56% of the defensive snaps. 56% of the defensive snaps in the interior. 42 defensive snaps. And that should be enough to get you going. That should be enough to get you going. And unfortunately, he just didn't really have much of an impact. Once we get that interior pressure, look out. Because that's going to open it up for your edge guys. Sweat was so close to bringing Spencer Rattler down a couple times. Birch the same way a couple times. You get that interior pressure down, watch out. This defensive line can be good, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me get some love over here to the sponsors real quick, and then we're going to go right back over to Cardinals and Panthers talk and keep engaging in the. You guys are absolutely doing an amazing job, by the way. There's so many comments already here on a Friday morning talking Cardinals versus Panthers. Continue to engage here in the chat. Appreciate you. Good. Let me give some love over to Sleeper, sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here throughout the entirety of the 2025 season. The NFL is officially here, which means you have a chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Football has never been more exciting than now with players like C.J. Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, etc. Pick on stats for those players like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for a potential 100 times your money on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you can win big. Use promo code AZSF, and you can get 100% deposit match up to $100 by using promo code AZSF on your initial deposit. Everything will be in the description below if you want to partake in this great fun game on Sundays, Thursdays, and Mondays. Now, a shout out here to Sleeper, sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. But let's go ahead and keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about what the Cardinals need to do to win this game. Number one, stop the run. Stop the run, or at least limit the run, right? Put the ball in the hands of Bryce Young. That's what you got to do. Put the ball in the hands of Bryce Young. Number two, I need this offense to look like they did in that first half. And even better. I kid you not. Kyler Murray was 2 touchdowns and 130, 140 yards in the first half. That's what it was? I could be a little wrong. But he had most of his yardage in the first half. Right? 2 touchdowns. If we can do that in 60 minutes, Kyler Murray looks like that. 3 touchdowns a game, 4 touchdowns a game. You can say 3 touchdowns, 1 run in from him. I don't care how it happens, right? But this offense needs to go up that uptick, right? We need to see this offense shine the way that Jonathan Gannon believed when he didn't feel like we needed to throw our guys out there in preseason, right? That's what we need to see. The decisions of not playing these guys in preseason, okay, that's fine. That's cool. I respect it. But you also need to look good, right? I'll give week 1 a mulligan. A lot of teams didn't look good in week 1, right? A lot of teams did not look good in week 1 offensively. Week 2, you got to make a big jump here. You got to make a big jump. Distribute the ball around to all your weapons. And if you want to force feed Trey, and if you want to force feed Marv, that's fine. I'm cool with it. But we cannot have another game where Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, and Greg Dortch has one reception and less than 5 yards each. No, we cannot have a game like that. That's unacceptable. That's not all on Kyler. That's on Petzing too. Petzing, I'm looking at you, right? I'm looking directly into your eyes right now. You got to figure this out. This offense, I love that we're a run-heavy offense. I do. I think James Conner is one of the best running backs in the NFL. But you cannot avoid these other guys. They got to get the rock too. And if you need to, get design play specific for these guys. We need to see more than one reception. Hell, I'll take 3 receptions at this point. And that's even for one guy outside Marvin and Trey, right? I don't even need to see 3 receptions from both Michael and Zay. No, just give me 1 for now. Let's take baby steps if that's what you need. But you got to distribute this ball. You want this offense to flourish? That's the best way to do it. In this game, the Cardinals are playing against a really good young cornerback in J.C. Horn. Let's say we're living in a world where J.C. Horn does a good job against Marvin. Let's just say we live in that world, right? Okay, well, who are your other options? Trey at tight end, which is unguardable, let's be real. And the other guys, Wilson, which I'm still high on. I like him still. But we need to start seeing it. Zay Jones, right? Veteran receiver at this point in his career. We need to start seeing it on the field. That's what I'm looking forward to right now. That's what I'm looking forward to. So number 1, stop the run, or at least limit the run for the Panthers and Chuba. Pressure the heck out of Bryce. Make him make mistakes. He threw 2 interceptions in week 1 versus the Jaguars. That could be us. And then this offense needs to get going, man. Was I a little disappointed on the defense in week 1? I was only disappointed in the defense because we didn't get as much sacks as they did. That's really the only reason. I thought they played a pretty solid game, right? Only allowing 13 points, we'll take. We'll take that any day of the week, right? We'll take that. That was my only really disappointing fact when it came down to the defense, was just we didn't sack him as much. And I'm talking about Spencer Rattler. But I thought the defense played okay. I mean, it played good. Could have been better. Oh, absolutely could have been better. 100% could have been better. But I'm looking at the offense right now. Let's get it going. Let's figure it out. And we can win a lot of games. We can win a lot of games. Michael in the chat says explosive plays. Absolutely. 100%. Jonathan Gannon talks about explosive plays so many times. You got to win the explosive play battle. You got to win it. You got to win the explosive play battle. You have to. We need at least 3 of those a game. You get 3 of those explosive plays, good things can follow suit. But this is a team you absolutely need to beat. You got to beat the Panthers. You want to start off 2-0? You want to play a San Francisco 49ers team that potentially does not have Brock Purdy and does not have Kittle and potentially could start off 3-0? Take care of business first here, because in 2 days, the Cardinals are taking on the Carolina Panthers. And this could be either a really good weekend for us because we're riding high, or it could be very, very frustrating because the offense can put us in a really bad situation if they can't get it going. Juan in the chat says the defense was good last year. I thought the defense was solid for who they had, right? I think the defense was solid. Are you saying last year or last week? I thought the defense played. If you're talking to somebody in the chat, then I apologize for jumping in the conversation. But I think last week they played solid. The only really disappointing fact of me that I feel like for the defense was just not getting the appropriate amount of sacks, right? Bringing them down, explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball. That's really where I was talking about more the line. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about for the defense. But overall, they played good, I think, in my opinion. But last year, I mean, they were good for who they had, right? I'm not going to say they were top 10 or top 15 last year, but, they were playing their hearts out. And that's all you can really ask for with the talent that we had. Claymore in the chat says, JG talks about it, but does nothing about it. What I would love to see is more accountability. If I'm going to be real, I love the fact that this coaching staff does not throw people under the bus. That's cool. I love it, right? But I do miss the side of Bruce Arians that was brash. I love the side that Bruce Arians brought to kind of show, hey, we're calling you out. Calling you out. I wished one day. Now, will it affect the locker room because of the way things JG has been doing? Probably, right? But that is one thing that I would have loved to see from this coaching staff, right? Because right now, when they do talk, it does seem like they talk about everything's good, right? Everything's good, everything's good. But there's some obvious things that need to be fixed, right? Obvious things that need to be fixed. And I'm looking at the offense being consistent through quarter one through quarter four. That's my number one thing I'm looking at, being consistency there. Who do you think needs to be the X factor? That's a good question. That's a good question. Let's do that. Let's do this. Who's going to be the X factor on both sides of the ball? Well, let's talk the offensive side of the ball first. Let's do the offensive side of the ball first, shall we? I strongly think that the Arizona Cardinals X factor offensively is Kyler. Here's my reason as to why. I could have said Marv. I could have said Trey, right? But it is up to Kyler to get the ball over to those guys, right? To the playmakers, right? Getting the flow down, chipping away, right? Taking the little yardage. I think for the offensive side of the ball, I'm looking for Kyler Murray to have an X factor game. He's my X factor. You do good, Kyler. You spread the ball around. You move the chains. This would be a game that the Cardinals probably can win by 10 points, double digits, 2 possessions, whatever. Kyler Murray needs to have a good game in order for us to be 2-0 by the end of week 2. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to be real. I'm going to throw Darius Robinson in there. And it might be expectations, but I thought for the most part, the edge players re-looking at the game again, re-watching the game, I think the edge rushers did what they could. The biggest knock on the defensive line was probably the interior. Not for the running defense. I think Calais Campbell did a great job stopping the run there. But the interior pressure when he was dropping back, it was just so easy for Spencer Rattler to step up, make a quick throw, right? Zipping the ball out of his hands. Like I said, Josh Sweat was so close to getting a few sacks, or maybe a sack or two. Same thing with Jordan Birch. So close. Imagine there was some interior pressure where he didn't have room to step up. It would have been it would have been game over. So X factor for me on the defensive side of the ball, Darius Robinson. Show me that interior pressure. Show us that year 2 jump. So offensively, I say Kyler. Spread the ball around, move the chains, score points. Defensively, Darius. Here we go. We got Richie in the chat saying Kyler and Sweat. I love this. I like this a lot. I like this. Jet on the chat says McBride and D-Rob. I like that too. I think this is going to be the first game that McBride's going to have himself a touchdown. I just feel it. I feel like this is the first game that McBride's going to have himself a touchdown. I'm glad we're putting D-Rob in here, though. I'm glad we're putting the pressure on D-Rob. I love it. Juan in the chat says, I think it's too close to tell right now. I think it's way too early to tell. But that's fine. I mean, if you truly feel like that, that's fine. I respect it. I think it's too early to tell right now. Claymore in the chat saying, how can Nolan be better than D-Rob and he has not even seen the field? Yeah. Who's saying Nolan's better than D-Rob? Oh, here we go. My guy Juan, that's who said it. My guy Juan, that's who said it. I mean, it's too early to tell, right? It's too early to tell in my opinion. You could be right, though. You can be right. Maybe when Walter Nolan comes in here, that interior pressure that I'm crying about gets so much better. Maybe you might be right, right? It's just all the hype we were getting from Darius Robinson in preseason. He got so much bigger. He looks like the Terminator, right? Like all these things people were saying about Darius Robinson, they're true. It's not like he doesn't look like the Terminator next to, Jonathan Gannon. It's just he's not doing anything. Like he didn't even record a tackle. He didn't even record. I don't think he even recorded an assist in week 1, and he was the most interior defensive lineman on the field. He was 50%, 56% of the snaps per the football guys. He had 42 defensive snaps on the field, and you couldn't record a tackle, an assist. Like, that's kind of where I'm like, dang, okay, this is it, man. Week 2, get it going. Get it going. Now, around the NFC West, we got some very favorable matchups for the NFC West. Maybe with the exception of the Seahawks. The Seahawks are playing the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to win. I really think I think the Seahawks are going to start off 0-2. And there's going to be a lot of panic in Seattle about Sam Darnold. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to lose against the Steelers. The Rams have the Tennessee Titans. The Rams are going to win that game. Let's be real. 49ers playing against the Saints. The Saints are a much better team than most people anticipate, and they don't have Purdy, so that's kind of a toss-up. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints win. The Cardinals have, on paper, another favorable matchup, the Panthers. You want to stay with this NFC West, you got to win the games that are provided to you on the schedule that you're supposed to win. Angel in the chat says, I think all 3 phases will improve on Sunday. I hope so. I hope so. From your lips to the football god's ears. I sure as hell hope so. Defensively, I thought the defense played pretty solid, with the exception of not finishing and getting sacks and all that stuff, right? Offensively, first half, I was pretty impressed. Second half, I was like, bruh. Second half offense was not, it wasn't it. So, special teams, Rylan, didn't he get like a block kick or something? Or missed a kick, if I can remember correctly. There was a kick that was not made that the Cardinals should have had at least 23 points leaving this game. But I thought special teams played solid. Jet in the chat says, I must be living under a rock. But what does everyone love about Birch already? I missed the first half of the game because my site was glitching all day. He's just showing a lot of promise that he could be a real good edge rusher. That's what it is. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Darius Robinson, right? You can be, what's the word? You can be impactful without showing up on the stat sheet. Now, what does that mean, right? What does that mean? How can you be impactful without showing up on the stat sheet? Well, pressures, right? Pressures. Batting balls down, right? Diagnosing a screenplay, diagnosing a quick play, right? Hitting the quarterback legally, right? Legally, hitting the quarterback legally, right? Causing these impactful plays that Jordan Birch, with the small sample size that we saw in preseason and the small sample size that we saw in week 1, he's being impactful already. He only had 28% of defensive snaps. 37%. Sorry, let me rephrase that back. He was on the field 37% of the defensive snaps. It equated to 28 defensive snaps total. And with that limited time that he has, he's already been impactful. He almost had a sack. And in preseason, I had this whole breakdown on the things that he did very well in one game. But guess what? The Cardinals saw the exact same thing because he really wasn't used very much in the rest of the preseason. I mean, we saw him here and there sprinkled, but like after the one game that he had, I believe it was the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Chiefs. Yeah, because we got complete. Nobody looked good in week 2 because Broncos destroyed us. Yeah, it was week 1 versus the Chiefs. He had himself a good game. Good game. So that's one of the main reasons why everybody would love to see Birch kind of opposite side of Sweat. I do think that give him a few games, he might find his way more than 37% of the defensive snaps. He might get an uptick into closer to 50%, right? Start taking some plays from Zaven. I like Zaven, but kind of the same thing with Zaven. I mean, very rarely do people call out his name. Very rarely. So Birch has already shown some really, really good playing of the football. I mean, there's been a lot of players that look good in college. A lot of players. Biggest thing is that how does it translate to the NFL? I hope so. I hope you're 100% right, Juan. I hope you're 100% right. Because we could very well use a guy like Walter Nolan. Expectations are pretty high with Walter. 16th overall pick, arguably the best interior defensive lineman in the draft. Arguably, right? Arguably. I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying arguably the top prospect, one of the top prospects. People were talking about Nolan when they were talking about Jalen Carter, right? Like Nolan took a little bit, obviously, to get into the NFL, but everybody was kind of talking about that hype of Walter as well. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Another calf injury. PUP list. Let's see what happens in week 5. So, Brandon in the chat says, I forgot about we had Zaven. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people forget we had Zaven. Yeah. And guess what? Zaven Collins right now is taking 49% of the snaps right now defensively at edge. 49% of the snaps at edge. Let's switch it. Let's get Birch more of those defensive snaps on the edge, right? I get you just pay Baron Browning, so it's most likely going to be Sweat and Browning as your 1-2 guys, and then the other guys are rotational. That's fine. But I would love to see Birch kind of work his way as the season goes along to outsnap Collier, to outsnap Zaven. I would love to see that. That would be ideal for me. We had over 90 people here on the YouTube side. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, do me a huge favor. Smack up the like button. We're so close to 50 likes on this channel. Smack the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Now everybody's excited. I'm excited. Week 2 can't come here fast enough. We got Saturday, and then we wake up to some football Sunday. Unfortunately, the Cardinals aren't one of the first games played. They are the second game played within the second slot. It's a 1 p.m. Kickoff time for Arizona. But I'm excited, man. Potentially to start off 2-0. Freddie in the chat says, Mike, the score is going to be 35 for the Arizona Cardinals. Wait, 35 for the Cardinals and then 14 for the Panthers? Well, let's do this. We're about to hit the hour mark, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to hit the hour mark. Give me your predictions. Let's do that. Give me your predictions. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. Give me your predictions. Your final predictions, Cardinals versus Panthers. Now, I would love to say you are 100% right there, Freddie. But I also did think the Cardinals were going to score more than 30 points against the Saints. That didn't happen. I'm just hoping and choosing to believe that the Saints are a lot better than we think that they're going to be. But here it is. Prediction time, ladies and gentlemen. What say you? What do you think is going to happen in week 2? Cardinals versus Panthers. Our first home opener of the 2025 season. Do the Cardinals got it? Do they advance to 2-0? Or do we have very, very sad therapy session conversations next week, which I don't want to have. I don't want to have those conversations, but they need to happen. They're going to have to happen. Let's be positive. Hopefully we go 2-0. But give me some of your predictions here in the chat below. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We got Joel in the chat says, I got Cards 41-21. Love to see it. Jake in the chat saying Panthers plus 6.5 right now is kind of insane. We better not show that they probably have that because the Cardinals are 1-7 the last 8 times we've seen the Panthers. The Panthers are 7-1 against us. That's probably a little bit why, unfortunately. X in the chat says 28-14. I'm assuming Cards. Robert 35-24. Love to see it. Connor 34-17. John 30-13. I love that one. Brandon 27-13. Oh, Robert over here. Optimism. Optimism up to yin yang. Here we go. 35-10. Let's go. We got another David 31-10. Okay. I see you. All right, guys. Well, great predictions. I think that if the Cardinals can take care of business, roster per roster, I would put the Arizona Cardinals roster hands down over the Panthers. Hands down. Not even close. But it is going to be up to them. Put it out on the field, win the games that you need to win, and everything will follow suit. You got a real opportunity. A real opportunity to start off 2-0. And a real opportunity to not play Brock Purdy in week 3 when you go over to Santa Clara. Let's get this going. And let's potentially have another 2021 season first half. Not second half, of course. I'm not trying to have a second. I'm not trying to collapse again in the second half. But let's potentially have another 2021 season in that first half. Let's make history. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go with one more. We got back to the Constitution saying 36-16. Man, I love the 20-point win. I love the 20-point difference. I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to be closing up shop right here. For the new people that just joined in, we are going to be giving away this amazing Arizona Cardinals mini helmet, Nike rivalry helmet that I just got yesterday. If you guys did not... Just broke something. If you guys did not realize, we do got the helmet here for the new Nike rivalry jersey that we're going to be rocking out for, obviously, since we're going to be podcasting. But yeah, we're going to be giving this away. We still do not know what you need to do in order for us to get there, to win this. But that's coming out soon. Once I figure out all the details, I will let you guys know what you guys got to do to potentially win this bad boy. But first things first, smack the like button, subscribe. This is your first time here. We're going to be content for days when it comes down to the Cardinals for the 2025 season. Cannot do it without you guys. We're on the road to 18K. Let's close up shop right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Another shout out here to sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, Sleeper. Make sure you check out Sleeper. If you use promo code AZSF on your initial deposit, they will do a deposit match up to $100 on your first initial deposit. So make sure you check out Sleeper. Everything will be in the description below. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to be closing up shop right here. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.